Hey, it's Craig again. Coming at you from beautiful, outskirty Longmont, Colorado, answering questions. The one today, or in this moment, my partner and I love each other. I want to bring change into our lives, and he doesn't. Um, boy, that's a tough one. Yeah, that's. Oh boy. Okay, so the simple answer is imposing change on somebody else unless you got a really vicious motivational crowbar ain't gonna work. Especially if you're in some sort of long termish intimate relationship. There's usually what happens is the person wanting the change is interpreted as a change agent, an authority figure, and the person who's being asked to get on board the train is the interpretation is that, oh, you're looking at me like I'm a dumb shit, that I'm doing something bad, that I'm doing something less than, and and you wanting change, which is a good thing. So it's difficult. The easiest way, the simplest, probably the most effective way, is to engage in your own change, show up differently, but not enough to trigger the bejesus out of your partner. And can you change and show up in such a way that it's a carrot for your partner? He's or she is watching you do something different, and it's not freaking them out. It's not like all of a sudden, you're ritually disemboweling black chickens in the bedroom or something. It's that you're doing things and your life is getting bigger and broader and more colorful or more exciting or whatever. That's tolerable to them. Now, remember, you can jump into something new and wonderful to you, but because of whatever their stuff is about, it can be incredibly threatening. And yes, you are in a relationship, and yes, you do need to take the other person into account. This is not a singularity dancing with another singularity. There's a lot of stuff going back and forth between the two of you, and it's not just about you. So you want to assess as best as you can about how the impact of how you're changing and being and your desires is actually impacting the other. In Boulder, me, my. It's about me. If you can't hang with me, if you can't go down my river, fucking get out of here. Go away. Long-term relationships are going to tell you that successful long-term relationships is that you don't put your stuff aside. You don't make the other person more important than you, but you definitely take them into consideration. And you learn over time, usually through some not terribly fun trial and error, that the other person has particular hotspots that you probably don't want to go over and flame on. If your partner, for whatever reasons, has a very narrow view of sexuality, and you go somewhere and it's like, oh my god, it's not a whatever. It's about more, better, crazier, whatever. And in your world, that's totally easy. You're not on flame or anything, but you bring it back to your partner, and they're like, "La, I'm out of here." So um, the and it's not, if you're trying to do what I'm suggesting, that you take it slow, take into account how you want to change, the influence it's having on your partner, and how to craft that presentation in a more carroty kind of way. It's not big, it's not sudden, it's not dramatic. But if you really want to keep your partner with you through this, it's one of the most successful ways to do it. Second most successful thing is, if you're engaged in a school, in a practice, in a mode of thinking, dojo is one of those, so this is just one of many. If you're engaged with that, you want to bring your partner along. Um, I would probably say that statistically, not all, but pretty damn near close, anybody who has ever engaged with this work with me that did not bring their partner along Eventually the partner left, or they left the partner. It happened. So dojo is about changing what usually are some pretty fundamental characteristics. If those fundamental, and within yourself, if those fundamental characteristics show up in a way that are important linchpins in your relationship, and you're changing those, it could be enough to upset the flow of the system. So you may change things. You may decide that, I don't want to color my toenails anymore, or I want to become vegan, or something. And while that might be a big deal for you, it doesn't impact your partner at all. And so, there is the philosophy of till death do us part, and usually that doesn't apply. So, yeah, best bets. Crafting carrots so that he, she, it, they find it enjoyable, bringing them along. Those two things, they're not guarantees of success, but they will increase your chances of success about keeping your relationship in. And then there's the part about, there are certain things that you want to engage in changing that your partner may not. You may want to go jump into one of those flying squirrel or fox suits or whatever they're called, and you may want to go jump off of cliffs and go sailing through the air and eventually pulling a ripcord and landing someplace. That may be something that has to do with fear, has to do with engaging with death, excitement, camaraderie, whatever. You may wish to do that. Is it okay that your partner doesn't? And again, in a relationship, there are linchpins, relational linchpins that you need to pay attention to. Them playing chess, you playing checkers may not be one of those, but it's helpful to sit down and say, what are the things in our relationship that are linchpins? What are the things that are really, really important to us that if we took out, the whole thing might fall apart? If you both start out being really strong Catholics, and that's part of the way that you met, that's part of how you get together, that's part of how you dance together, and you start examining what it is to be a Catholic, and it was great when you were growing up, but now you want to be involved with Hinduism, or whatever. It doesn't mean that you want to stop being a good Catholic. That may be enough to where you two are going your separate ways. It may not be, but you just got to look at them. It's a difficult thing. It's not difficult so much, but it's a nuanced thing. It's definitely a nuanced thing. You want to change, your partner doesn't. And so it's, how do you come to terms with that? And how do you dance with it? It's a very, very nuanced thing. Okay. Doggies aren't ready for food yet, so I can maybe get one more of these out. Okay. Again, keep them coming. Be as crazy and as wild as you can. If you're talking like, how do you do a differential equation? And I'm going to be like, hell if I know, but I will answer it. It takes me back to high school. And my senior year of high school, I got to do calculus, and it was really fun. It was a tremendous amount of fun. And they told me afterwards, do you realize that when you're sitting there doing a test in class or something that you're cursing out loud? I have no idea. Say the teacher used to look at me and just sort of shake his head and go back to whatever he was doing. So, calculus wasn't terrible. It was a lot of fun, but real world applications and pursuing it, maybe that's TMI. Okay, thank you, and we'll see you next time.